Thanks, Basil. I just want to give you a bit of an insight into the Saturday afternoon team. We're a bunch of unique individuals.
Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Unique Individuals podcast. We are back for the last episode of the year. It's good to have the boys with us. Good to see you, Jackson.
Happy to be here, mate, as always. Should be a good ep.
And we've got the Burns boys all the way from Hamilton. We've got them on a Zoom. Good to see you, boys.
Yeah, good to be here, lads. Missed not doing it the last it's felt like a long time, but yeah, great to be on. Highlight of the week.
Yeah, no, it's good to be back, boys. Good to be baxt into it. Episode 14, last of the year. So, yeah, can't wait.
Good stuff, boys. And Hugo, unfortunately, can't be with us today. He's once again, he's at Coles, but he's with us in spirit. He's probably enjoying stacking shelves or something. But yeah, that's where Hugo is at the moment.
The life, isn't it?
The life for Hugo, pretty much. But we'll get into it now. Obviously, Connor and Blair, you've been home since the breakup of uni. Us boys came back from the lad pad 2 weeks ago, but you guys obviously stayed. Work's been happening for you boys. Seeing family and whatnot. Do you want to talk about that? We might start with Connor.
So I haven't been doing a great deal other than work, but early wake ups, 5:30 getting up. I'll start at 6:30, but finish at 2:30 or 3. So it's been taking a bit out of me by the end of the week. Been quite tired, but yeah, getting the hang of it now. Pretty much, 3 weeks down, and I don't know, 6 or something to go. But getting the hang of it, it's becoming a bit easier and getting into a routine with it, and playing a little bit of cricket here and there, and just relaxing really, and yeah, catching up with the family. To be honest.
Yeah, good stuff. Blair?
Yeah, I've been pretty busy with the work as well, obviously. Not new for me. Connor's obviously working a new gig at the hospital, maintenance man.
Changing the nappies.
I shouldn't laugh, he gets paid more than me, but, But no, I'm back at the Hamilton Spectator, the local newspaper. So it's the old stomping ground. Done about 16 months in my life there before I went back. So, it's good to be back, typing articles for a living, interviewing people over the phone. So, yeah, writing back page stories. You boys know how it is.
Any, I was going to say, any back page stories at the moment that have, drawn the attention? Bit of Tom Brown territory in there. Yeah. Yeah,
no, I've been back a couple of days, I reckon 2 days, and already, back to the back page, which was nice to get back on there, get the name back there. But I had a fair few new coaching appointments around the region, so I've been doing a few of those. New senior coaches, both A-grade netball and footy, so they've been keeping me busy. And that's about it. Cricket previews and reviews each week. So yeah, that's been good.
Good stuff. Good stuff from you boys. We might just quickly go back to Connor. Connor, on the list, you've got a ridiculous cricket match according to you to share to the audience. Do you want to go into that?
Yeah, so a little bit of a segue into the other thing I was going to talk about as well. But on the weekend, just gone, I didn't play. Blair and I went up to Garoke to see family and to celebrate our twin cousin's birthday. They had their birthday a few months ago, but we just celebrated it and got the family together. So that was a pretty nice occasion. But I didn't play for that reason. But the team that I normally play for in the B grade have been going pretty well, but they played against a new sort of side in the comp, and they made like 215 or 20, really put on a really good score of 40 overs. And I was just checking on the My Cricket live score, and then the other team was about 1 for 10. I thought, I knew they weren't going to win, but 1 for 10, it's not a terrible start, but checked later on, all out for 27. One of the blokes, the opening bowler, he took 6 for 8 off 8 overs. So, and he took 3 for 4 the week before. So he's taken 9 for 12 off about 15 or 16 overs.
Shout out to Luke Purcell.
Yeah, shout out to Luke Purcell. He wanted me to mention that, but yeah, really good bowler in the B grade, probably too good for it. Hence the figures, but it was a pretty sort of crazy match. Watching on My Cricket, it was just wicket. The occasional 1 or 2 in there, but it was pretty grim for the opposition. And that's 2 weeks in a row we bowled a team out for under 50, 42 and 27. So, yeah, we're going pretty well as a side, but you don't see that every day, especially individual figures like that.
Not at all. Yeah, a quick bit of inside info from a journalist that reports on that game. I was in the article. Do a little bit of searching and stuff. Searches my cricket. He's taken, like Connor said, 9 wickets at 1.5 average this year. So, yeah, take that.
That's insane. Yeah, far out. Must be an absolute beast. How fast does he bowl?
Well, he's pretty sharp. Like, he really shoots it through and swings it both ways.
Yeah.
That train, pretty tough to face, but wouldn't be surprised if he gets the call up to A grade this week. I don't really know if he likes playing A grade that much anymore, but but the form suggests that he should get the call up, but pretty ridiculous really, and
Crazy stuff.
Team's going well so far, and I'll play this last game this weekend before the break. So it's been unfortunate we haven't all got to play much cricket before another couple of weeks off now. But we'll be keen to get back into it and hopefully play every week after this Christmas break.
Yeah. Did you say? So I just want to get a gauge on this. Did you say that a team getting bowled out for 27 is called a ridiculous cricket match? Is that what you're trying to get at?
Well, yeah, a little bit. I think you boys were probably expecting some sort of story. I don't of what sort. I don't know whether 36 runs in and over, batsman gets hit in the head, all this sorts of stuff. But no, it was pretty crazy. I thought.
Paul Mansell's had a few ridiculous matches.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. If that's ridiculous, then consider a couple of these innings Hall of Fame. Like we've been bowled out for 17 and 18 against the one team. So let's just say you can't beat them, join them. So I ended up playing with them the next season. So yeah, we've had some terrible ones as well. But 6 for 8, pretty decent figures.
So Mansell, what you're trying to tell us is you're an absolute bandwagoner.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't contribute much anyway. I buy cricketer talents, as you can see, from the backyard cricket and all that. They aren't the best, but I wanted to get it within the winning culture. So yeah, say what you will, but yeah.
Did they keep winning once you went there, or did the ship turn?
No, we made the grand final. Then again, they won it the next year when I left. So yeah, story told.
Sounds like a bit of a correlation.
Mansell in the 17 and the 18. What did you make, mate?
Well, considering I batted at 11, one of them was definitely not out, and I faced maybe one ball, and then the other one I probably got out for like one or something. Actually, no, I think I was not out on both of them. So,
red ink.
Yeah.
That's a good contribution, even if it's 0 not out.
Yeah.
Protects the average.
Yeah.
Doesn't really improve.
Only one in full, mate. Only one that really values the wicket. So, plenty to take into next week, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of cricket as well, obviously it's been on the socials and on YouTube, but the Backyard Cricket Showdown highlights have been out. And firstly, shout out to Jackson Mansell, would have taken hours upon hours to make the package. So yeah, well done to Jackson, and great commentating as well. Definitely a few good one-liners there. But obviously, in reflection, boys, what do we think of the Backyard Cricket Showdown highlights?
Well, I mean, I won't talk about the highlights necessarily. I'll probably talk about the game, but like most things, I reckon I was robbed on the day. I mean, spoiler alert, I made 16, but should have been 116 if there was no one hand, one bounce. I've never played those rules in my life.
It's a pretty well-known backyard rule.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I play it. We try and replicate Test cricket as such, but even though I try and smack it all over the place. But yeah, I mean, obviously you boys play well. Yeah.
Boys, you got anything to say?
Man, you talked a big game coming in. I think career high score 300
yeah, something like that.
Which, to be fair, I don't know how that happened.
All right, let's put it this way. It was
Benny Mansell must have been serving absolute pies, but it was a bit of fun. Mansell, when you get hold of that aggressive pull, mate, it's pretty tough to stop. But unfortunately, I only got hold of 2 for the day. No, it was good fun. I mean, at least he didn't leave it. It got bowled with it bouncing off the tyre. So, the commentary was outstanding. The footage and the replays. Actually, one of my work colleagues mentioned to me, said they tuned into a little bit of backyard highlights and said They love the graphics. That's a quote.
Graphics are very good.
Retro Ricky Ponting vibe.
Yeah.
Back in the day, the little game. So, my colleague was very impressed with your work, and not so impressed with my my skills.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's Rob when there's 3 pegs cartwheeling Mansell. I mean, if they could move, if it wasn't a bin, they would have been lighting up, especially that leave off the first ball.
I love that one.
But at least you pick the ball to do it. But mate, you put in some really hard work into the highlights, and they're pretty elite. Like the commentary, the graphics, and it's really entertaining viewing for all of us, and probably bleeded out a few swear words from me as well, which is good work.
Yeah, from a gameplay perspective, a bit disappointed. I think I did my best work with the ball once the camera stopped rolling. So, look, what can you do? You live and you learn. I think I had 3 up until the cameras went off, and then I took another 4 or so. The viewers haven't seen my best yet.
I think you took 4 in the last innings from memory, so you definitely you definitely got rolling. There a few people got rolling. I will say this: part 3 will be out before Christmas, so it'll be an early Christmas present.
How
whether
good.
you want to gift it out to someone.
Put it under your bloody tree.
I got to say as well that I did my best work early on, so I'm not really looking forward to part 3. But but no, it was a great bit of fun, and again, the graphics were really good. Mum said as well, gives that 80s vibe, and yeah, commentary is just class. So well done to Mansell, and yeah, obviously for anyone who doesn't know, Mansell's also behind all the socials, and every episode that's released is because of Mansell. So he's been working tirelessly, but no, he does a great job, Jackson, with all the socials. So everything you see on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, that's all Jackson's work. So yeah,
Thanks,
good
guys.
stuff,
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on to Jackson. Obviously, you had your 5K run recently.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us how the day went?
Yeah, well, started off strong. I mean, I think where we touched off last time, it was obviously in the lead up to the run. Had that run on the Monday with you boys, which was definitely one of my best runs for my training period, pretty much. Although race day, it probably wasn't my best run, I will say that. I probably got about 3.5, 4Ks in, and my ankle, which has pretty much been giving me grief, where I've had to sort of, tone it down a little bit. Started hurting a little bit, so. And then it got to the point where I'm like, I have to walk a little bit, which probably wasn't my plan. I didn't want to walk it, but I had to walk a little bit of it. Got going towards the end. Was probably on track for just over 25 minutes, so it would have been in the ballpark, but 28:23 was my time. So yeah, I mean, not too bad, but all in all, obviously the time's not the reason that I'm there. It's for the cause, and I'm grateful to everyone who donated and sent the messages of support and everything like that. That doesn't go unnoticed. So yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Well done, Jackson.
Yeah, no, done well there, and lots of awareness. That's the main thing. So yeah, it was a good lead up to it, and you've done well ticking it off, Mansell. So credit there again.
Yeah, thank you.
And to shout out to everyone, Connor also had his Movember. It just recently finished because it's not November anymore, but. You obviously can't see him right now. He'll send a photo. We'll put it on the socials later. But he's baby face now. Not a single speck of hair on the face. Oh, he's got a bit of hair on top.
Yeah, I was going to say just a little.
Well, nearly baby head. He's nearly balding.
He's about 10 years younger, little Connor.
Well, I requested a little longer on top just because I'm pretty self-conscious about the receding hairline. So I just wanted to keep all I had. But I reckon that might have gone a little bit too high, so we'll see how we go there. I might leave it, or I might try to get a little trim, whether it's my parents to do it or go back there and hopefully don't get charged. But we'll see how we go.
On to your money raising efforts though. What we're actually talking about. Your Movember.
Yeah. Well, thanks, boys, for the support with it all, and thanks to everyone that donated out there. I meant to say like a message to the fans, to the followers on Instagram, but thanks to everyone that supported it and donated, and it's the least I could do, really. to a great cause. And yeah, I think we will continue. Well, I'll continue that on next year. I think we should, like Blair said a few weeks ago, make a big sort of deal out of that because it's important, and do these different fundraisers and funds. You know, it's not that hard to do, and you know, it can raise a lot of awareness and attention for it, and raise money for great causes. So no, it was good to be a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, well done on the cause, mate. Obviously, it's it's definitely something that again, you've done really well there. I will say this: have you contacted Vance Hair Studios yet, just to get the repairs going? And you're a bit self conscious. Just put your ears.
I think they turned him away. They saw a photo and said, "Look, mate, we can fix hair, but we can't bloody give you a miracle." So.
I haven't. I was looking into Mosh the other day, just to try to help the hair, bit of a hair transplant. I saw some ad on TV, and it was a redhead dude, of course. So made me feel pretty shit. But yeah. But I don't know. I'm really gonna have to take matters into my own hands because it's not good. I'm 20 and stuff my jeans really.
That's a bit stiff. No, you're doing yeah. I think we have a go at you, Connor, because compared to your brother, I mean, one's got hair, one doesn't. I mean, it's
definitely not identical. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It comes back around though. Talking about Movember, when people start talking about that, my eyes revert to the floor. Get a bit shy, a bit nervous, don't really want to talk about it. So and that's not because of the cause. That's because my lack of You boys know the rest, but a few people questioned it, and I said, November 2020, I started, I never stopped. So, and that's still going to be the same.
It's still going strong.
It goes in 2023, and I'm looking forward to hopefully next year's my year and can actually, pass that barrier to actually do it and put it on the socials.
Bit more fluff on the top of lip. The upper lip.
Or I'll dye it darker and just for added effect.
No, good stuff, boys. We'll move on now we're bringing back the Storytime segment this week because we do have a guest sharing his story today. Adam Orlando has sent us a voice message in. Now, we haven't heard this actually prior to the episode, so we got no idea what's coming up. He is Jackson's friend, so it's probably a stitch up on Jackson. Who knows? But hopefully, a bit of good stuff on Jackson. But anyway, no, it's good that Adam's responded and shared his story in. Again, a reminder, if you want to be heard on the pod, obviously this is our last episode for the year, but next year we'll continue. So the offer's there. Just share. I think the message is only 1 minute or so, Jackson. So that's all. That's how long it has to be. Just a minute or two, whatever. It can be about anything you want, pod worthy. But yeah, we'll obviously hand it to Jackson because he's got the message in front of him.
Well, yeah. So obviously, you boys have said you haven't listened to it. Even though I got it in my inbox on Monday, I still haven't listened to it myself. To keep it the surprise and everything like that. So Adam's one of my closest mates. We went primary school together, played footy together, played cricket together. So I will say this now, he probably knows a lot about me, but there will be blood if there is anything in this way that, is derogatory or off-putting to me. But yeah, no. I will play it for you and, we'll comments later.
Shout out to Adam.
Hey, boys, love the pod. I'm Adam, a close mate of Jackson's. We've been friends since the early days of primary school, so as long as I can remember. But it's so funny because people always associate Jackson as a responsible, knows his limits type of bloke, like especially when alcohol's involved. That has really not always been the case, as when he was at the ripe age of 14, old mate Jacko had the urge to ask a waitress for a margarita. I'll let Jacko fill in the blanks for you. Hope you're having a good episode, boys.
What is that?
Some
explaining to do there.
Okay, well, I will say this. I had a feeling this was going to be the story that came out, even though I had no idea what the story was. So we had a birthday dinner one time. As Adam said, I was 14. It was his 14th birthday, actually. Went to this Italian place for dinner. pizza place, right? And you know, they the waitress comes over, is like, "Oh, what's everyone having?" I'm like, "Oh, can I please have a margarita?" And I didn't realize that she asked, "Oh, what are you guys having for drinks?" So I've gone thinking, okay, I'm ordering a margarita pizza. Instead, I've gone to order a margarita, and then yeah, the waitress gives me this look like, what the hell's going on? Like, so she should. And yeah, so that's stuck with me for a few years now. So there you go.
At the age of 14, Mansell, could you get away with 18 plus?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have confused me for a 30-year-old at some stage, married with 2 kids, but yeah, I haven't had a baby face. Probably more like what Connor's looking like now. You know, with the baby face and that. Yeah, I wouldn't have passed forward. You know, the ID would definitely be looked at, and yeah.
Yeah, well, I liked where Adam was going, but I was really hoping you said something different to the waitress, and I was hoping you asked for a number.
I thought that was coming up too. I was like, oh, hello.
Yeah,
You know,
this is
there's
a
always
family-friendly
next time.
podcast, so we're just going to keep it at that, yeah?
You've still got time to make that story a reality. So,
Okay. Thanks for the advice.
no, good from Adam. Thanks, Adam. So,
I just think Adam didn't want to stitch up Mansell too much there, and that actually it might have happened afterwards. But 14-year-old genuine alcoholic, you've got issues, Mansell.
Says the one who's probably got a spurn off right next to you over there.
It's outrageous, and already completed, but no work tomorrow for me. So party time. But Adam, thanks a lot, mate, and I'm sure he's got a bit more dirt on you that he could potentially tell in future episodes. But Mansell, I think you've settled down a little bit since when
The
you
right
were
page
14.
of 14, yeah.
Bit of a cheeky young fella back then, but we all were, I guess. So we'll let you off.
No, good stuff. And again, thank you, Adam, for sharing that little story and insight of Mansell. Something we didn't know, something that the listeners and viewers didn't know, but now they do. Jackson was a cheeky bugger back in the day.
Still am, mate.
Yeah, he still is.
He loves it.
He loves it. Anyway, let's move on now to the sport talk, to the sport segment of see what's been happening recently in sport. Obviously, the World Cup is in full flight, and Argentina and France have made the final. Well, France beat Morocco 2-0 this morning, actually. And yesterday, Argentina defeated Croatia, that's right. In a 3-0 win. Very comfortable win there. But they advanced to the final. It's not a surprise, to be honest. Looking at we're gonna have to look at our predictions before the tournament, obviously, see if they match up at all. But Jackson, I want to get your insight on Argentina. They've had an incredible campaign and they've made it all the way to the final stage.
Yeah, well, you look at how they played against Saudi Arabia. They definitely weren't their best, and now they've just turned it around. Like you look at Spain in 2010, they lost their first game, and then won every game since, and then won the final. It could be the case with Argentina. I feel it's definitely, the stars are aligning for Lionel Messi, to probably cap off his international career in style. Will definitely add to his CV as, probably one of the greatest players the game's ever seen. There's some competition there, obviously, even some competition in terms of the greatest of the modern era, but, something here should help, should bode in his favour.
Yeah, definitely. Boys, what do you think about the whole situation?
Yeah, look, tip Brazil to win it. Which, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm pretty disappointed. Obviously not a lot of research went into it, but I had a really good vibe. And to check the standings back a while ago and realised that Brazil were actually flying. I'll admit I got my hopes up. I thought, I didn't go the norm, the Argentina, just the little cop out. But anyway, I guess, look at me now and look at you boys that tipped Argentina. And, that's why I don't even know my other tips, but to be honest, I don't want to know.
Well, I've got them in front of me. So, yeah, For the World Cup winners, everyone tipped Argentina except Blair. Obviously, tipped Brazil. I mean, it's not a bad shout, but
No, stiff.
all of us are on the right track for that so far. No one I don't think anyone really predicted France to make it this far. I mean, I thought they would make the group, but be knocked out in the round of 16. My predictions.
Yeah, I thought that Denmark would be the top of the group there, so they would have to play Argentina in the round of 16. But
yeah. And then we've got the runners-up. People predicted England, Portugal, Spain, but obviously none of them are in the running. Golden Boot. Connor and I tipped Harry Kane. Jackson and Hugo tipped Neymar. So, I mean, that's not likely at all for either of them.
yeah, but Blair, you tipped Messi with your really late call, which he's tied with Mbappe at the moment, and there's a shot.
I'm going well.
Yeah, for the Golden Boot, and then Golden Ball. Everyone tipped Lionel Messi, which is a very, very good prediction because that is most likely the case. He's probably in the lead for the best in the tournament. I think pretty much every game he's won man of the match.
Yeah, 4 out of 4.
That is incredible, really, except when they lost to Saudi Arabia. But every match they've won, he's been man of the match. It's quite incredible. But yeah, so Argentina, France in the final. The stage is set, and we cannot wait. But before we move on, we have to reflect on Australia's performance. Incredibly, of course, making it through the group stage, beating Denmark. But our hearts were broken when we were against Argentina in the round of 16. And, well, we just couldn't get the job done, losing 2-1 in a nail-biter, really. Jackson, your thoughts on our performance in the game?
Well, firstly, I want to start off with a story from the Denmark game. So, obviously, it happened. Obviously, we haven't had an episode since. We're at the lad pad watching it, and Connor obviously went to sleep because he had to go to work the next morning. Hugo was out like a light, and Blair decided, no, I'm not watching this. So he decided to go to bed. So that left Owen and I by the fire watching the match. I put it up on my phone. We started watching it, and then about an hour in, the fire, started going out, and it started getting too cold. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to go to bed and watch the rest of it. So I go to bed, or about to hop into bed. Next thing I know, I hear this yelling and screaming. It was just chaotic. I'm thinking, what is Owen being attacked or something like that by by some of the farm animals or something like that? Like, what's going on? I'm thinking, I'm having a look at. Then I got my phone up and I see the ball's down Denmark's end. I'm like, is he celebrating for the other team? What's going on? Then I keep watching. We make the fast break. We score. I run back out, start yelling and screaming myself, and but yeah. To answer your question, long way around, the Denmark game was definitely, we definitely put our best foot forward. The Argentina game was tight. I watched the second half of it. Cole nearly became Australian of the Year with that shot in the last minute. Should lift our heads up high, even though Graham Arnold predicted we make the quarterfinals, which no one believed. It's definitely a great effort. Should hopefully help with the growth of Australian football.
For sure.
Yeah.
But and to think that the only 2 games we lost in the campaign were against Argentina and France, and they're the teams in the final. I mean, just shows that, we're not really that bad at all at soccer. But the team was very good, and we were in it. We were definitely in it. We weren't pretenders, that's for sure. Yeah. Going back to the story of the whole Jackson and I celebrating. My SBS footage was about 2 minutes in front of Jackson's, so I was on time. Jackson was about 2 minutes behind, so and then he started running out, and we went crazy. But that was it was a magical moment, really. It was a great campaign by Australia and gives us hope for the next World Cup.
Yeah, no, it was a real fight from the Aussies, and that's what, that's our country. That's what we do in all sports, fight hard. And, I think we proved a lot of people wrong. Lots of people didn't think we'd go that well and had a crack. And even going out like that, like Mansell said, they can hold their heads up high because it's not like we got blown out or we had a real crack against Argentina, who are, basically the jocks, and we should be like, it's pretty good, and I think it gets more people wanting to watch soccer and get around it. So I think it's a pretty good campaign all in all.
For sure, it shows we can match it with the best. Only we're losing to the best two current teams, based on form in the World Cup. But big fan of Harry Suter. I'll tell you what. A few of the play against Tunisia. I watched TikTok and it had like six clearances. It had stats that I didn't even know of. So it had like 6 clearances, 50 touches, and 1 last man tackle, and then he's just like smiled, and then had a nice little song to go with it. So
Nice little edit, yeah.
Legend, but no, the lads are plenty to take into future tournaments and World Cups based on that, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that again and improve on that in the major tournaments and against other countries. We're obviously a decent side when we put it together, so it was good to see. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was great stuff. But the World Cup final is, I'm just checking the day.
It's Sunday night.
Sunday
night,
Monday morning.
Yeah.
Monday morning, December the 19th. So we can't wait for that. Definitely getting up for that or staying up.
Yeah.
But we'll move on now to the cricket. Cricket's obviously in full swing. The Aussie West Indian Test Series has just wrapped up. Aussie's absolutely dominating. And the South Africa Test Series is just around the corner. Big Bash has also started for those who enjoy that. But let's look at the Test Series against the West Indians. Just an absolute domination. Scotty Boland doing what he does best, just hitting the spot, getting batters out. Miles Labuschagne's in some fine form. It doesn't look like he can get out at all. But Jackson, your thoughts on the whole series?
Yeah, well, obviously, all in all, was probably expected. Like we expected the Aussies to pretty much dominate, and then we see the opening partnership of Brathwaite and Chanderpaul, and we're sort of second guessing it. Like, is this really going to be a wipeout?
Could they put up a fight? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was really impressed with the openers for the West Indies, Chanderpaul especially. Debut test series, he stood up when he needed to, and pretty much, like, especially in that last innings in Adelaide, was the shining light, I suppose. Even though he only top score with 17, it was still something that that was, I suppose, a highlight to take out from that innings. Apart from that, you can't really say much else. I suppose you expected it, or it was just an absolute drubbing. It was like, it was just one of those things. I reckon our bowlers though were excellent. That was pretty much where the game was decided. We had the bowlers to match, they didn't. And like you said, Marnus and Smith pretty much back going.
I think good insight there, man. So I think the biggest problem with the West Indians is their bowling attack. They've got a lack of pace, and
Spinner.
Yeah, and not even a spinner really. And likes of Brian Lara were calling that out, and it's right. I mean, you need to come to Australia with a lethal and scary bowling attack, and if your fastest bowlers are bowling 130, 135, 140 if best, I mean, you're not going to be good enough. And our batters just was scoring runs so easily, and in quick time as well. They weren't mucking around at the crease.
Yeah, I reckon it was batting practice for the boys. Marnus, Smithy, Uzi, Trav Head, they all just really took the piss. Like, they were just, how about getting them in form? I've been struggling lately, so I wouldn't mind taking on West Indies either. Get me in form late in the season. From a bowling perspective, obviously, I was really impressed with our bowlers, especially we know Gaz and those guys can do it. But Nisa was really impressive, and same as Scott Boland. I love Jazz more than anything in the world, but my second love is Scott Boland. And when he comes on the bowl, boys, I don't even know what to do. I'm excited. I'm nervous.
Let's go PG.
Okay, I'll keep PG, but when he 3 for none and over, I don't really know what to say. he comes on, just gets the edge, and just such a humble
I
character.
know,
just
so
like,
humble. Ridiculous.
he's a machine.
He is.
Just the way he just jogs around with the big barrel,
I know,
just,
barrel boy.
yeah, it's nothing better.
Nah, what a legend. But like we expected a bloodbath. We got an absolute mauling. It was ridiculous, really. I think West Indies they were on top for probably the first half an hour of the first test in Perth, I reckon. But like just didn't really have the bowlers to match. Alzari Joseph, probably their best bowler, bowled good pace at stages, but and even Holder, obviously not nearly as quick, but could tie up an end. But outside of that, they just let too many runs sort of go, and they couldn't really put partnership bowling together. And Australia's batsman, particularly Marnus, just was scoring ridiculously easy. I think he made 502 runs at 170 or something, so pretty ridiculous. But like we expected it, but it's going to be a huge step up against South Africa. Hopefully the lads are ready for it because they got a damaging pace bowling attack, and I think it'll be whoever can score 300, 350 in those innings, probably gets the upper hand. It's not going to be a 500, 600 run innings, I don't think. Both bowling teams are just great.
Yeah, definitely. Well, South Africa definitely have one of the best bowling lineups in the world, test bowling lineups in the world. So that'll definitely be a test for Australia, that's for sure. But going back to Marnus Labuschagne, Blair was obviously frothing over Scott Boland. Yourself, Connor, it's on the Instagram story a lot, but you're an absolute lover of the man, Marnus Labuschagne. Footage of him in the nets, love heart emojis. You love him, don't you?
Oh, him and Smithy they just make you feel things, They haven't felt before. I mean, the man's recently become a father, and he's hitting balls at 9:30 at night in the nets, in the cold, in the dark, and he's trying to finish off the net session with the perfect cover drive. I mean, like, he would have been out there till 1 or 2 a.m. if he really had to, if that's what it took. The man doesn't sleep, and I think Smithy said he averages like 15 or 16 hours throughout the whole 5 days in it, in test match, because he's just dreaming about hitting runs and smoking cover drives and all this sorts of stuff. But that's it's a reason why they're number 1 and 2 in the world in the test rankings, just because they work so hard on their game and always find ways to get better. And the series coming up, Australia are number 1 in the Test Championship. South Africa are number 2 or up there.
Yeah,
so
they're 2.
Potentially the best 2 teams in the world going at it right now. It should be a mouth-watering contest.
I think it's an excuse to get away.
Smith and Marnus, they're number 1 and 2. Connor's number 1 and 2. Ellie McKenzie and Marnus. So you've got the flick, but
That moves Marnus down to the 3 or beyond that. So that one's a tough call between Ellie and Marnus. They both
depends what side you're batting for, really.
No comment.
No comment. But, Jackson, what were you going to say, mate?
I was just going to say,
everyone loves Marnus.
I was going to say with you and with Marnus and the net sessions of that, I think it's an excuse to get away from mother and son, probably, or mother and child, probably just with the crying and everything like that. No, I don't mean that in a sinister way. I'm just saying that's probably why he's up all night and probably needs to find a way to clear his head and
he's doing a good job of it, isn't he?
Yeah, look, it's probably not a bad shout, but I mean, surely life at home can't be that bad. The man can handle, 40k thunderbolts coming down at him. I think he can, handle like a 2-month-old and the missus. So, but you need to keep the balance. You need to keep the balance, between cricket and family for sure.
Yeah. Before we move on, boys, predictions for the upcoming Test series against South Africa.
Yeah. I reckon it goes to the final Test match, and Australia win in Sydney in, I reckon, what will be described as one of the greatest Test matches in history.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Blair?
I mean, I think they're going to bring it up to us, but I think it'll go to last as well. It's not going to be easy. I think the batsmen especially are going to get it it's going to be a reality check. They go from hitting a double tons, run a ball hundreds for fun against West Indies, and now they're going to have to really grind it out. I think it goes to the last test, but we get it done. I think, I feel like our willpower is just a bit stronger than theirs, and I feel like, our value of the wickets, Smith and Mars, I expect them to keep continuing, even though it'll be tough yards.
I think Australia get it done 2-1, but Australia sew it up after 2 games. But I think there'll be 2 really tight games. Obviously, the Gabba to start, Australia don't really lose there, but quick track, quick bouncy track. So there will be, the balls will be flying past the outside edge and flying over the head because, both teams have a lot of pace to show. But, we'll win the Gabba test and then back at the G. I mean, that's, it's Scott Boland's playground out there. So I think he'll take a few there and they might just rest Hazelwood even if he's fit because Boland's so good there. But, I think 2 really tight tests and could look like it goes either way in those 2 matches. And then for the third, I don't know. I'd like to think South Africa probably win 1, but it's a really tough call. It's pretty 50-50 sort of. The only advantage we have is being at home in Australia, I think.
Yeah, no, fair call. I think that it's going to be 3-0 Australia. Even though, all respect to South Africa, I think they're a very strong team, but I think we're at a different level at the moment. And I don't know, at home, Australia summer, I just think we'll dominate. Even though I think a few games will be close. I don't see South Africa though winning a test. There might be a draw here and there, but I think we'll easily win the series. But yeah, they're my predictions. Can't wait for it. First test, Jackson. Do you know?
So first test is on Saturday at the Gabba.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Can't wait for that. Make sure to tune in for it and support the Aussies. But we'll move on now to the NBA. A third of the way through the season. A lot's been happening. Surprise seedings include the Nets, where they're placed fourth. The Knicks, my Knicks are 6th, winning today against the Bulls. Pelicans are at number 1. And the Suns were first in the conference, but now they've lost 5 consecutive games in a row, dropping all the way down to 4th. Jackson, want to have your say on a few of these surprise seedings and I guess your opinions on how the season has played out so far.
Well, I think to start off with the Nets, Connor, I'll get your view on this as well. They're 8-2 in the last 10 games. I think the thing is that we always knew that the Nets weren't going to, it's not like they were always going to drop off. It's a bit similar to like what the Lakers are doing at the moment. But I think the fact that Kyrie has been back for a little bit, that Kyrie and KD are able to gel together now. I think, they will probably stay around that area for the rest of the season. Connor, what do you reckon?
Yeah, obviously repping the Nets top, feeling confident enough to put it on since things have turned around a little bit. But like you said, 8 of the last 10 victories, so in great form. And obviously KD's had a ripping season, really. He scores so effortlessly and tough to stop when he really gets going. And Kyrie, since he's been back, just, adds another string to our bow. But I think guys like Seth Curry's been pretty decent throughout. Joe Harris struggled early, but he's sort of starting to come into a bit of form. Even guys like Claxton, big fan of him with his athleticism and, ability just to, pull down boards and, score in the paint. But, it's good that we have, a few more sort of strings to the bow. But against really good sides, there's always that question where other guys don't really step up and we don't fall short by much, but it's, it's enough when we don't quite have the depth. But, 4th on the ladder in the Eastern Conference, got to be happy with that from where we started from. It was looking pretty bad, but no, they're going really well. The only downside, Paddy Mills not really getting any game time. Obviously, a huge fan of Paddy. Played the other day, played good 35 minutes, I think, when pretty much all the starters were out, and we scrapped together a win, which I wasn't expecting with those many players out. But he scored 24 points, and he had 6 boards and 6 assists. So it shows he can do it when given the opportunity. But I mean, they're playing good basketball, I guess. So maybe they do have the balance right, and maybe it's time for Paddy to either move on to another side, or I think there's been a bit of talk about him joining a potential new team in the NBL next season, which would be great to see. You know, I think he'd dominate that still. And he's still good enough for NBA, I think, with some teams that probably might need him more than others. But I'm pretty happy with Brooklyn at the moment, so can't complain.
Yeah. I think then to touch on the other teams that you mentioned, the Knicks, well, they I did these last night, so the Knicks were in 6th yesterday, and just some stats. They're going about it quietly, which, you know, I mean, it's no secret I had them towards the bottom this year. It's just a really competitive Eastern Conference, but they're finding their way around the Eastern Conference, which has been working well. They've now got a 5-game winning streak, but the 4 that they had, so 4 of those 5 were by an average of 17 points, all double-digit wins. On Monday, they kept the Kings, who have the second highest points per game, to a season-low 99 points, which, you know, goes to show what they're doing. And I'm really liking the sort of big 3. They've got RJ Barrett, Jalen Brunson, who you love today after that ankle breaker, and Julius Randle. You know, they're really you know, getting to know each other, I suppose, and working well as a team, which is always good to see. And then you got the Pelicans, who have got the best point differential in the game. 7-game winning streak as of yesterday. Zion Williamson has just been amazing for them. And it's good to see that it's finally all coming together. Obviously, they got a lot of trade pieces when AD went to the Lakers, and they're finally putting it to good use. And then finally, the Phoenix Suns, you know, I can't really say the positive words that I did with the others. They've lost their last 5, 1st to 4th in 5 days, and yeah, like we see, they lost by 14 points to the Rockets. 15.2 negative 15.2 point differential, which is the worst in the league in those 5 games, and they were down by 45 points against my Celtics, who have been doing really well. So yeah, it's a bit to work out. Obviously Chris Paul's back, so I don't expect it to be going on for as long, but yeah, so
Yeah, good stuff. And then obviously a couple of standout players so far in the season: Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, Giannis, Anthony Davis as well for the Lakers has been absolutely smashing it there. But Jackson, you're I guess leader when it comes to MVP talk so far.
Well, yeah, I mean, the NBA have got Jason Tatum as the leader, which, don't get me wrong, he's had a great season, and you know, 9 times out of 10 I'd be biased and say that yeah, he's probably the favourite, but I reckon Luka's actually the favourite at the moment. I picked him at the start of the year, but he's just you know, he's just been consistent night in, night out. You know, Tatum's probably just had a purple patch. He, you know, towards the back end of this Western road trip, he wasn't at his best. I mean, he had 44 yesterday against the Lakers, which was a really good game. I tuned into that. That was something to behold. But yeah, I reckon Luka's just been doing it night in, night out. Might not be getting the 44 points like of recent times, but he's getting like 30-point triple doubles and stuff like that, which is he's really that main focal point for the Mavs. But yeah,
good stuff. Well, I mean, yeah.
Before we move on, I've got something to contribute with the NBA.
All right.
So yeah, you know, Golden State last year won the championship. You know, I search it up. I'm obviously not an avid follower, you know, of my Warriors, only Steph really, but I searched up, you know, expecting maybe a 5th in the conference, maybe a 4th, maybe a 6th at worst. 10th. Like,
It's kick in the guts.
Like, it made me sick to look at, really. Look, we may as well be irrelevant like the Spurs, like and the Rockets. Like we're down with those names. 5-5 the last 10, 14 and 15. We lost more than we've won. Look, I'm close to tears. I looked at the leaderboard and Steph, he's still having 30 a game, but he's just no help. Like I scrolled down, my hand was getting sore from trying to find the next Golden State player. Wiggins, come on, 18. Klay Thompson, 18. We need more. And to sit 10th in the Western Conference, like lost more than we've won. I just don't really know what to say anymore. I think I tipped us to win the championship back to back. I just don't even know right now. I don't even know what to do. Maybe we may as well have Seth Curry because can't get him over the line, and it's disappointing. Like we could be like the Hornets now. Like, I don't know. That's all I've got to say. But I just it's just really rattled me a bit.
Someone's unhappy.
I always thought we might not go back to back, but I didn't think we'd be 10th in our conference. So
I think they need your support, Blair, consistently.
Well, that's a bit late for that because I burnt the jumper.
You got to give me my money back.
He's burnt the Bali jumper. That's $10.
Yeah, but nah, just a bit disappointing from my perspective. But hopefully we can bounce back. Steph, like I said, just needs 50 a game, and then we might win.
Now, good insight.
Plenty of time left in the season,
No, there's
Blair,
no
so
hope. No.
there's a little bit of hope, but you might make the play. Even if you stay like this,
It's not helping, Connor. It's not helping. He's shaking his head.
There's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Could make the play-ins, but yeah, maybe you do need Steph.
We need a full
He's quite a good shooter.
We need a rebuild, I think.
I'll take Steph Curry if you want.
All out Orlando, be tragic for 10 years. No,
We need a rebuild. I know who our coach is, but let's get him out of that seat.
Oh, it just goes to show how much he follows the Warriors.
Yeah. Why would I when they're putting up?
Oh.
So I don't. Let's move on.
There's Blair's rant of the Golden State Warriors there. But anyway, we'll move on to I guess the final bit of the episode, the big call of the summer. Before we leave, before we are back in the new year, I guess a call of the summer, to sit on for the rest of the summer, I guess. Jackson, you've got one. And obviously the call of the summer can be on any sport, anything. Could be ridiculously, crazy call. I don't know, whatever. But Jackson, take it away.
Well, I'm going to get him first before Connor takes it because he telepathically predicted my one. So we're going to go into the tennis, into the Australian Open, and we look at one guy who, when he's on his game, can match it with the best. And I reckon with a home Grand Slam, this guy is going to be thriving off it. Like we look at what he did in the doubles this year. I reckon that in the 2023 Australian Open, I reckon Nick Kyrgios will make the Final Four of the Oz Open. He hasn't done it in Australia yet, but I reckon this is his time. And King Kyrgios will be out in form, and the fever will be out.
Yeah, right. Far out. So you think just the top four, not the top two?
Well, I mean, it's possible for top two. That would be a humongous call of the summer. This is a big call.
Well, it's the time to make the call, Mansell. What about winning the Oz Open? What about that call? Or not? Too soon.
Too soon.
Too soon. Okay. Coward. Blair, what's your call of the summer, mate?
I have a call, but it's not really the summer. It's just the rest of life.
The call of life. Okay, the big call of life.
A call of just change what we know right now. Baseball to revolutionise Test cricket. That's what I'm calling.
I actually thought of that last week. I'm on with you, right? Whether it's for good or for bad, but baseball will revolutionise Test cricket. It won't be the same.
Yeah, for those people out there wondering what baseball is, I was like you a couple of weeks ago. But now I'm educated on this subject, and Brendan McCullum, Baz, obviously coaching the Kiwis. Not the Kiwis, what was that?
England.
The Poms. And if the England weren't already attacking enough, they've turned their game into full-on aggression, taking it on, scoring well above what we've seen before, rapid run rate. And, yeah, whether or not, like Mansell said, whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing, I think it will change it, and it is changing it right now. And I think if it doesn't work a few times for them, I think they should stick by it because they've got the right players for it. And to change this attacking way, like I'm really excited for next June when Aussies meet the Poms and we can see it. But I really think it could change it, and then in the future, rather than test cricket, you're looking for test batsmen and your slower going ones. Sides will be looking for blokes that can ramp it up a bit, I reckon, in a few years' time, and it might change some of the sort of players that we see, which I don't necessarily like, but I think it might happen. It's a big call, but yeah.
So you reckon that's going to be the new way of Test cricket, Bazball,
I
basically
reckon
just
if
basically
they
slogging
doing
it,
Hey,
basically slogging it.
yeah, I think if they keep doing this, like, it's going to be interesting to see whether they do. If it doesn't work a few times, it's going to be interesting to see if they revert back or they keep going. But if they keep going with it, and it's worked more often than not, and for their side, I think other sides will not try and do it necessarily, but try and look over the next few years to get a side in that can be, like your Stokes players, a bit more aggressive and So I think it could well change, what we sort of know right now as Test cricket, and could be dangerous. And it's not for the purist. It's not for the Test cricket purists, and there'd probably be a lot of people out there that really don't like it. But I think it's
Yeah, it's a fair call. I mean, I don't know. It will be very interesting, the Ashes, because I can't see England being able to execute that sort of game plan against Australia's bowling attack. I mean, Pakistan's is good, but the tracks that we're playing on were just ridiculously flat. So I think that helped a bit. And I don't know how, with a swinging ball, seaming it both ways potentially, in English conditions with the Duke's ball, how they're going to be able to just whack it everywhere, even though the grounds are a bit smaller and sort of suit the way they play. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but Test cricket is sort of dying a little bit. So, but England have played some good cricket of late with a different game plan, and they couldn't keep going like they were because they were pretty much the worst Test nation going around, and they were just sort of batting time, and they just lose wicket after wicket eventually.
Yeah, I'm going to say England keep doing that, and then as time goes on, other sides look to be a bit more aggressive.
Fair call. Nice. What about you, Connor?
Yeah, I've been pondering during this episode. Obviously, I was Mansell and myself. Some will say good minds think alike. Yep. I said Nick Kyrgios for the win, which is I was thinking that, which is slightly different to Mansell's, but
slightly braver.
Slightly braver, but I did say that because I don't know, it's a fair chance. Never played that well at the Australian Open, but when he really get the crowd get up and about on the home turf, he's pretty crazy to watch. But I don't know. I'll steer away from that. I'm thinking. I'll steer away from Nick Kyrgios. I'm thinking tennis still.
He really hasn't got much here.
Look, we are struggling a little bit. You might have to come back to me, boys.
Mate, the episode's done.
Nearly done. Well,
I don't know. I'll ponder on it in the next few days, I think, and give you a legitimate answer. But right now, I don't have too much. Can we say Nick Kyrgios for the win at the Australian Open?
Why not?
I was thinking it.
I mean, you're desperate.
Be brave.
You might need.
I might need that. It's awfully desperate. After Mansell pretty much said the exact same thing.
Mansell said top 4.
No, top 4.
Yeah, but I was thinking that he'd win it. But he certainly has the potential to. But he might maybe Nick Kyrgios to win singles and doubles, but it's a really big call because it's.
Well, that's why it's called the big call of the summer. So
I'll say more.
He'll probably pull out of the doubles when he starts going well in the singles, but who knows? You never know. If he's playing with Kokonakis, then he'll want to play. The lads will love to play together, so maybe that might have to be it. Back to back in the doubles and a singles Grand Slam for Nick.
Yeah, can I change my call? Nick Kyrgios to win it and Connor to still be pondering by the time he wins.
I don't really know if you can do that, man. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. But you seem to want to at this stage. So, I mean, it might be a bit of a feud off air.
But for my call of the summer, I'm sticking to cricket. I'm going to say Boland takes another fifer at the G and a statue will be built.
Right. Yep.
I like that.
Why not? Why not? Fair. He deserves one. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, his story is incredible.
Yeah.
And to do, I know, other statues around there. You got Sir Don. There's some pretty, there's some pretty big names.
There are some heavies, yeah.
Holland, what he's done in very limited amount of cricket at the Test level is incredible. 3 for none of his first over. He just makes stuff happen.
He's a cult hero.
He's a cult figure, and
so
statue. Taylor Harris has one. Let's get Scotty Boland.
Yeah, I know.
Also likable. It's a ripping call. I mean, Scott Boland excels on bowling on flat tracks. Just imagine him with the Dukes ball next year. I mean, it's mouth-watering stuff. It really,
it gets you excited, doesn't it?
No, I think he'll take extremely large amount of wickets next season or next year if he can get out in the park if they select him.
Oh, you'd be surprised if they don't.
But no, fair shout, and they need the statue right now, but he might just have to
get another fifer.
Take 6 in an over or 5 in an over, and then they'll definitely do it.
No, we can't wait for the Aussie summer. But thanks for the call, guys. I guess we'll see how it plays out. But that's the end of the episode for us today. Thanks again, boys, for joining us. And here you go in spirit. Make sure to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. This is the last episode of the year. So thank you for everyone for listening and watching us throughout the year. We'll be back next year. Bigger and better things to come. But for now, I guess that's it for us. Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a nice holiday season. And we'll see you all in the new year.